This is the AHSAA Weekly, your inside look at everything going on with the Alabama High School Athletic Association. I'm John Holder. Coming up on this week's program, we are going to take you to Montgomery. We will speak with the Assistant Director of Officials for the Alabama High School Athletic Association, Ken Washington. We're going to talk some basketball rules and points of emphasis for the 2020-2021 basketball season. Also, our AHSAA Game of the Week statewide this week is a Class 4A Region 7 matchup between Madison Academy and Madison County. We'll speak with the coaches of both teams, Madison County head coach Scott Sharp and Madison Academy head coach Bob Godsey. Also coming up, Philip Barry Baker, the Class 5A Making a Difference Award winner for 2020 from Chilton County High School, and David Holtzford's highlights. We've got some football and volleyball highlights from around the state of Alabama. All that and more on this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly.
If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
This is the AHSAA Weekly. We are going to visit now with the Class 5A Making a Difference Award winner for the state of Alabama for 2020 in the AHSAA. It is an athletic trainer from Chilton County High School in Clanton. Here's Philip Barry Baker.
I've grown up, lived in Clanton my entire life, and when I was 10 years old, I remember it well. Still kind of gets emotion when I think about it. But I'll never forget that day. I remember I was in fourth grade and started struggling to see and see just things like reading in fourth grade like you would in a reading book, and never forget. In fact, saw the guy yesterday. He comes to my business now and he said, Hey, buddy, you need to go to the eye doctor. They can give you some glasses to help you out. And so I went yesterday. I went home, told my parents, hey, I'm struggling to see, and went to the eye doctor and was diagnosed with macular degeneration. And not to go in any great detail about that, but there's a couple different kinds, and there is kinds for younger people and older people. And of course, mine was the rare kind for younger people. So at that time, I was involved. I played Little League baseball and just different sports, Little League basketball. And of course, my dad had me involved in different things. And I couldn't really, at that time, continue to play baseball. And so we just kind of made a decision. My parents, they encouraged me, they pushed me, and so I was able to continue to in football and other sports. I never remember what it's like to be normal, to see normal. The way I am now is my normal, and so for someone to say, for an administrator or a teacher or a parent to say the things that I do demonstrates to kids or to other adults that not to let things stand in your way, to figure out a way to be successful, to overcome, to keep striving to do your best. I really never thought about that because I just think of myself as, hey, this is my normal, and I'm going to give 110% at everything I do and do my absolute best. But for kids or parents or to think that's very humbling. And I went through a sports medicine program at Troy University, and many of the kids that I went through the program with at Troy had been in Florida, and they had student programs. And so I thought, it would really be great if I could start some type of program for kids that are interested in physical therapy, occupational therapy, athletic training, those types of programs that I could just start. And so I was at a point in my life with my business where I could turn loose a couple hours a day and go in the mornings and have that. And so Honestly, it started about 4 years ago, and the first year it was probably pretty rusty. I was a trainer and a therapist. I wasn't really trained to be a teacher. So we learned a lot over the last 4 years, and feel like it's a really good program now. We have great kids, and it's just awesome to be able to be around those kids and watch them grow and learn. I want to help people. I want to help them get better, and to me, that's just fun. That's satisfying. I love the relationships I build. I love the friendships I build, and I love seeing them to go on and be able to do the things they want to do. Whether it's, an adult that wants to get back on the tennis court or golf course, or if it's a high school athlete and they're trying to help their community. And
we are back on the AHSAA Weekly, going to take you to the Alabama High School Athletic Association offices in Montgomery. Ken Washington is the Assistant Director of Officials for the Alabama High School Athletic Association, and he joins us this week. Ken, glad to have you with us once again here on the AHSAA Weekly.
I'm glad to be on here as always, John. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well, Ken. We're going to have some fun this week. We are getting closer. We've had a little chill in the air in the recent weeks. Fall is here, winter just around the corner. Basketball season is coming. We're going to talk about some of the changes that are coming to basketball this year, a couple of emphasis on rules and a couple of rule changes. One thing that we're going to talk about right off the bat is coaches coming onto the floor during an altercation. This strikes me, Ken, as being something very important. Talk about the rule change here.
Well, John, I love this rule change. It helps get things back in order. This year, the National Federation felt like it was important that we allow coaches to come on the floor during the altercation to help restore order, so we can get the game back going as quickly as possible.
Okay, and we're also going to talk about another rule change. This has to deal with player injuries and the time frame, the timeout for a player injury. Tell us what the rule change is there.
Well, this is another one I like as well, because now a coach has 15 seconds to replace a player. Before, they didn't have that time. They had to replace the player immediately. Now they will have 15 seconds to fix a player up and get them back out there if they need to, especially if they're a good free throw shooter, a rebounder, or a scorer. So whatever they specialize in, they'll have that opportunity to get that player in.
Not big rule changes, but very significant. I know you're pleased with those. Also, each year, there's not only rule changes, but there are what we call points of emphasis. So these are not rule changes, but it's going to be a point of emphasis in officiating this year. This will be, Ken, I think the three that we're going to talk about here this week are going to be very, very important. And I think the fans will notice this when they go out to high school basketball games. So let's begin. We're going to look at a couple of videos here. All of these from high school games that were played at the state finals last year, I believe, in Birmingham. First one, we're talking about charge versus block. As we look at this video, tell us what's happening here.
All right, on this particular play, we got a play to the basket, and we have a secondary defender is coming over trying to take a charge. We have an airborne defender, an airborne shooter, and we have a collision. The official decided not to blow the whistle on this play, but in this particular play, we want to have a whistle. So we'll do a let's make the call. And John, if you'll tell me what you got on this play, that'll be awesome.
All right. I would have called this a charge. This was Lee of Montgomery and Mountain Brook. I would have called the Lee of Montgomery players taking the charge. But you tell me, right or wrong?
I don't know. I know a lot of coaches will be out there. John, what are you talking about? He didn't go through him. He fell backwards. What are you doing? That's what our coaches do. But anyway, a defender has to first establish legal guard position. To establish legal guard position, they have to have 2 feet on the floor facing their opponent. Once the defender has established legal guard position, they are not allowed to move into the offensive player. So the official has to judge, does that defender move into the offensive player, or is he stationary prior to the offensive player leaving the floor? In this case, I think it's a block, John. I think it's a tie. But this is a very tough play. It could go either way. The most important thing on this is that we have a whistle. You can see how tough this play is. It's a very difficult play, and we're watching it multiple times that the official only has one shot at it.
Sure.
And it's very quick, and they have to make a decision. They chose to go with no call, but I would love to see a whistle on this play.
And so that will be a point of emphasis that when a heavy contact like this happens, there will be a call one way or the other. Am I getting that right?
That's right.
Okay, now the next thing we're going to look at, we have a girls game. This is a 5A girls game last year in the state finals in Birmingham between, I believe, Madison Academy and Charles Henderson coming up. And this is going to be in the area of an intentional foul. Tell us about this.
That's right. So on an intentional foul play, we're seeing players grabbing players to stop the clock, to give them opportunity to put them on the line. And it's hard to say that that is not an intentional foul. And so the direction is if a player is fouling from behind to stop the clock, no matter what the score is, the directive is from this office is for our officials to call that intentional foul, no matter the score. We also gave this information to our coaches during their rule cleaning, so they're very aware of what we're asking our officials to do.
So fans be looking out for that as well. In our third video here, we're going to go back to the Leah Montgomery Mountain Brook game on this one as well. And this we're going to talk about palming and carrying the basketball. Now this is a really getting into a subjective area here, it looks like. Tell us what the point of emphasis is going to be this year on palming and carrying the basketball.
For palming and carrying the basketball, our officials are going to be looking at the offensive player's hand. If they're going out as I was going to shake your hand and I have the ball rested there in the palm of my hand, we're going to allow this, which is a lot of leeway from back when the game was back in the day when Ron was playing. But if I was handing my hands out as I was giving you change, that's the play we want. And if you watch this play, you'll see the offensive ball handler pauses with the basketball, palm facing upward, takes about 2 or 3 steps in between the dribble, and that's hard for that defender to guard that offensive player if we allowed that. And on this particular play, they ended up getting an and one, a foul on the defender, which is a personal foul, and they got a team foul. So it's very imperative that we get this play right the first time so we don't have those mishaps after the play.
So this play, this year, that would be carrying and palming the basketball, and it will be a turnover, correct?
That's correct. Yes, absolutely.
Great information there. And so as fans get ready in the next few weeks to start going out and watching high school basketball games around the state, if they've watched the AHSAA Weekly and they've tuned in very carefully to what Ken Washington has said, they will be a little bit up to snuff a little bit on the high school rules more than the other folks sitting around them in the stands. So some great information, Ken. Thank you for joining us this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
Thank you, John. I always appreciate being here.
Ken Washington, Assistant Director of Officials for the Alabama High School Athletic Association, our guest this week on the AHSAA Weekly.
If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
And we are back on the AHSAA Weekly, coming up here on WOTM this Thursday night in our AHSAA statewide game of the week. We're going to see a battle for what might be a region championship in Class 4A Region 7. Two Madison County foes going at it from Gurley. It is Madison County hosting Madison Academy. Right now we're joined by the head coach of the Madison County Tigers, Coach Scott Sharp. Coach, thank you for being with us here on the AHSAA Weekly to talk about this huge matchup that's coming up Thursday night at your place in Gurley.
Yes, sir. Well, I certainly appreciate you guys having us on, and looking forward to a big game Thursday night. And it's going to be a challenge for our team, and but we're excited about the opportunity.
Coach, you had a great season last year, 10-win season, lost to eventual state champion Central of Clay County all the way into the quarterfinal round of the 5A playoffs. This year dropping to 4A, and you're just as successful. You're sitting here at 6-1, undefeated in region play. Another great season for your Madison County team.
Yes, sir. We're very proud of where we are right now. Coming into this year, we lost a lot of guys, especially on offense. So we had a lot of new faces we had to plug in, but been awful proud of our guys and being able to plug in. And our defensively, we had a lot coming back from last year. So we were hoping that we would be pretty talented defensively. And for the most part, our defense has played well, and our offense, I think, is growing a little bit each week. But certainly, we got a huge test Thursday night.
Talk about some of the players, some key players for you this year. Who have been some guys that have really stood out? You mentioned the defense. I'm assuming you've got some really good players on that defensive side of the football.
Yes, sir. Kevin Montague is a guy that's coming back from us, was an all-state performer last year at defensive end. He's been off to a fantastic start this year as well. We need him to have a big game. I think Braden Parton is another guy that had a big year for us last year. An inside linebacker has played for us fantastic this year. Also plays in offense for us this year as well with short yardage back that we have. We're asking him to do quite a few things on offense. And secondary guys, we got some younger guys back there, but a guy that's been back there in the battle last year was Evan Vaughn, one of probably our toughest kids. Doesn't meet the eye test, but he plays extremely hard, and he's been really, really solid for us the last couple of years. On offense, I think Ramiro Towers is the guy that plugged in at quarterback for us this year, has done a really good job for us. He kind of brings a different dimension to our offense than what we had last year. Isaiah Purdue is a running back that had a lot of big carries for us last year, that's back again this year and has done very, very well for us. Been awful proud of the way he's ran the football for us this year. And then I think out wide, Case Watson is a young man that's had a really, really good start for us this year as well. A dangerous kick return guy, and also gives us a deep threat offensively.
Coach, this is just what high school football to me is really all about, games like this. Both teams there in the same county. It's a region game. Both teams undefeated in region play. Both teams state ranked. It is a huge football game. Coach, I think this is what high school football in Alabama is all about, games like this Thursday night.
Yes, sir. I agree with you. We've talked to our guys this week about, having an opportunity to play in a game like this. We were in a game similar to this a couple of weeks ago against Guntersville and didn't perform the way we were hoping to perform. Of course, it was a non-region game, but here we have another opportunity this week to go into region, and this game is going to have a lot of implications on who wins the region. Not saying that whoever wins it's going to win it, but certainly this will play a big factor in it. So, it's just a great opportunity, as you said, to go play on a Thursday night, and a lot of eyes on a lot of people in the state are going to be on this football game. So this is why you play. This is why you do the work throughout the summer. This is why you go up and you put all the work into it to have an opportunity to play in a big ball game like this.
Very exciting, Coach. We're looking forward to seeing your football team statewide here on WOTM, the AHSAA statewide game of the week. Thank you for the time. Best of luck to your football team. We'll see you Thursday night.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you guys.
Scott Sharp, head coach of the Madison County Tigers, getting ready for that big matchup right here on WOTM with the AHSAA game of the week versus Madison Academy on Thursday night. Coming up Thursday night here on WOTM, the AHSAA statewide game of the week. It is going to be a barn burner. This is Class 4A Region 7 in North Alabama. We'll take you to Gurley, to Madison County and Madison Academy. It will be a key matchup. Both teams are undefeated in region play. Both teams ranked in the top 10 in Class 4A in the state of Alabama. We're joined now by the head football coach of the Madison Academy Mustangs, Coach Bob Godsey. Coach Godsey, glad to have you with us here on the AHSAA Weekly.
I'm glad to be here. Glad you guys are covering a game and looking forward to talking with you.
Coach, this has all the markings of what really a high school football game in Alabama is all about. It hits all the check marks, a lot on the line. Just your impressions of the matchup that's coming up Thursday night.
Well, we're awfully excited just to be able to play, obviously, during the time of a pandemic and that type thing. And then when you look at, two schools that, it's kind of built a nice little rivalry. And Coach Sharp and I have known each other for a while as well. So, like you said, it's got all the makings of just a really, really good high school football game, and our guys are certainly looking forward to it.
Well, there's been a lot of famous names of players that have come out of Madison Academy through the last decade or so. Tell us about some of the guys on this year's Madison Academy team.
Well, we're still kind of a young team in that we have a small senior class, but our quarterback, Avery Seaton, is our go-to guy. He kind of leads the charge for us, and and we rely on him to do a lot of things for us offensively. And then we have a lot of guys that have made plays for us on both sides of the ball, that whether it be a receiver or running back, as well as defensively. Tim Spurlock has been outstanding for us on both sides of the ball. KDK had a big night against North Jackson on both sides of the ball. And Caden Hamlin has just been a mainstay for us, playing linebacker and tight end for us. And then you can't get, probably the area where we've improved the most this year has been up front with Cade Young and JP White, Brent White, Jalen Arnold, and then our freshman right tackle and Reese Baker. It kind of helped solidify things up front. So it's good that we have a lot of guys, and we're not relying on just one. It's good that we're able to spread the ball around, but we do have a lot of guys that play a lot of snaps during the night.
Coach Godsey, you are a veteran coach, including 16 years at AHSAA before you came to Madison Academy. You've been in a lot of big games, won the 5A championship back in 2011. What is kind of your approach to big matchups like this, where possibly you've got two state-ranked teams, possibly a region championship on the line, things like that? Kind of what's been your approach through the years to big matchups like this?
Well, you're excited to play in big games, and that's why you do all that you do. You want the kids to be excited about that, and all the summer workouts and winter workouts and all of those type things. You do all of those things to prolong this. And then after that, you want things to really to be normal. You want your preparation and all the things that go on leading up to it. You want to prepare like it's a big game every week. So keeping them kind of focused and under control a little bit, so they don't peak too early in the week. A lot of times is something that you have to worry about. But our motto for us is just take care of ourselves and do things right, do things with great effort, and do things with other people in mind. And if we can do those things, then I think we'll have a say-so in the end.
Coach Godsey, thank you so much for spending time with us here on the AHSAA Weekly. Look forward to seeing your football team and showcasing your team around the state in that big matchup out at Gurley against Madison County on Thursday night here on WOTM.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Bob Godsey, head coach of the Madison Academy Mustangs. Madison Academy and Madison County for a Region 7 matchup. Battle of top 10 teams coming up right here on the AHSAA TV network and WOTM Thursday night.
If you are experiencing foundation issues, get a free estimate from Ox Foundations.
Back on the AHSAA Weekly, time for David Holsford of the AHSAA's statewide highlights as we take you around the state of Alabama to show you video highlights. We'll begin with Holt at American Christian. American Christian quarterback William Suit hands off to Brandon Waller, streaks up the middle for a Patriots touchdown midway through the first quarter. Later in the period, it's Suit again with a play-action pass, finding his receiver, who runs it in for a touchdown. Next, he throws it to talented Patriots receiver Kamari Lassiter, who grabs the catch over the defender and is brought down just before the end zone at the 1-yard line to set up another Patriots TD. And here we've got Sawyer Dearman. He comes in motion, takes the jet sweep, and runs right to left across the field to get the touchdown as the Patriots remain unbeaten with a 54-19 win over the Holt Ironmen down in that matchup in Tuscaloosa County. Next in Mobile, Murphy travels to Baker High School. Quarterback Jayshon McMillan faking a handoff, running 15 yards in for a Hornets touchdown. And then later on, it's the Murphy Panthers with the ball at the 31-yard line. Khalil Johnson takes a handoff up the middle and races to the end zone for the touchdown. Baker, though, would strike back, however, as Deontay Smith faking the handoff to Jamari Hawkins, keeping the ball himself as he rambles all the way for the touchdown, and Baker rolls to a 31-14 win over crosstown rival Murphy in Mobile. Next, it's St. Paul's and UMS Wright volleyball. This is the battle of 5A rivals, St. Paul's and UMS Wright at Mobile. Louise Muscat, she spikes this shot over the Saints defenders for a big point. St. Paul's falls with a serve. The Bulldogs keep in play just long enough for Dorsey Parker to get the point for UMS Wright on their way to a 3-2 win over the Saints in that volleyball battle of Old Shell Road down in Mobile. In volleyball, those 5A rivals, the St. Paul's Episcopal Saints and the UMS Wright Prep Bulldogs. Now we're going to go back to more football action. Hoover at Hewitt-Trussville in the Class 7A Region 3 battle. It was all as expected. Hoover pulled out a 29-28 win over the Huskies, picking up the action in the first half. Hoover quarterback Josh Lundy connects with Malik Thomas for the touchdown to give the Bucks a 10-7 lead. But then Hewitt-Trussville roared back when the Huskies' talented Armani Goodwin, committed to Auburn, races 46 yards for a touchdown. Hewitt would take a 28-16 lead into the fourth quarter, but the Bucks show why they are the Bucks once again. Jalen Taylor cuts the lead to 28-23 with his Hoover touchdown run, and later in the fourth quarter, he seals the win with a winning touchdown, and the Bucks escape with a 1-point win, 29-28 over Hewitt-Trussville. This Class 5A Region 2 game between Greenville and Rehoboth came down to the wire for the last play of the game. This is Rebels quarterback Peyton Stevens, hands off to Xavier Helms, who completes a jump pass into the end zone for the touchdown. Greenville gets a touchdown with this strong run, but then with Greenville taking a 16-13 lead late, Rehoboth drives to the winning touchdown in the final minute, thanks in part to the old hook and lateral play executed to perfection. Mason Rivers catches the pass late in the fourth quarter from Stevens, pitches to Brandon Austin. He runs the ball down to the Tigers' 36-yard line. And then with just over 7 seconds left, Stevens, who earned the prep spotlight this week, would end it here, rolling into the end zone and diving toward the pylon for the game-winning score as the buzzer sounds to give the Rebels a 19-16 win. Another South Alabama game that came down to the end. This is Strawn in Geneva. We pick it up in the third quarter. Panthers cut Strawn's lead to 21-20 with a touchdown run by Noah Johnson. Then with 35 seconds left in the game, Geneva quarterback Damian Kimmerlin connects with Johnson in the end zone for the game-winning touchdown to take the key 26-21 Class 4A Region 2 win. Up north, always tough, Addison took on Cold Springs in the Class 2A Region 5 battle, showed its muscle from the get-go. Bulldogs quarterback Christian Roberts dashing 40 yards for the first score and takes on another TD. A few minutes later, Cold Springs just doesn't have an answer. Roberts scores his third touchdown of the night. Addison goes on to win the game over Cold Springs by a score of 50-14 as we take another look at the run here between those two rivals up in North Alabama, Cold Springs and Addison. This is Ashford at Alabama Christian. Alabama Christian quarterback Colin Hunt opens the Eagles' resounding win over Ashford with this touchdown pass to Norman Schlemmer. Hunt finds receiver Corey Landers next. That's coming up on a short screen pass, and the blockers open the gate as he weaves his way through the Ashford defense for another touchdown. Odasoe Dion takes this fourth quarter handoff the distance for a touchdown as the Eagles close out the Class 4A Region 2 win 49-14. And there's that long touchdown run right there for the touchdown as the Eagles win the Class 4A Region 2 game 49-14. Next, we go back up north, Oak Grove at Curry. Oak Grove picked up its first win of the season at Curry thanks to a rejuvenated offense led by plays like this one by running back Zachary Brinson, who becomes the passer on this touchdown play. Brinson speeds for another touchdown later in the game, and quarterback Braylon Myers fires this touchdown pass as Oak Grove cruises to a 49-36 win over Curry. Zachary Brinson, Braylon Myers, the combination there for Oak Grove as the Tigers win 49-36 over Curry from up in Walker County. There's the touchdown pass deep into the end zone into a lot of traffic for the touchdown. Now we're going to take you to number 1 Randolph County in 2A playing at Fayetteville. This was the AHSAA TV Network WOTM game of the week. Check out this great camera work as top-ranked Class 2A Randolph County rolled early and often in its win over Fayetteville. Quarterback Avian Willis hands off to Jeremy Till, who makes a move around one defender to get into the end zone. The Tigers led it 20-0 at the half. Willis picked up where he left off in the second half with this play-action pass to receiver Jake Smith, who races untouched into the end zone. And then Austin Terrell powers his way for another Randolph County touchdown as the Tigers roll past Fayetteville 41-0 in the AHSAA TV Network game of the week to remain undefeated at 6-0 and tied for the region lead in Class 2A Region 4 with Lynette. That's the David Holtzford highlights. If you want to send a highlight clip in to be featured next week, just go to dholtzford@ahsaa.com. That's the email address to send your clip in for next week. And that's going to do it for this week's edition of the AHSAA Weekly. We'll see you back here next week.